Have you ever felt that no matter how hard you try, no matter how many right things you do in the eyes of others, there is still an emptiness inside you, a hollow space you cannot quite name? Are there nights when you sit alone, long after the city lights have faded, left only with your own breath, and a familiar question echoing softly, "Why am I still not at peace, even when my life out there seems to be getting better every day?" You are not alone. We are living in a world that moves far too quickly, where expectations, achievements, social media, and silent comparisons keep pulling us away from any sense of inner sufficiency. Sometimes, the peace we long for becomes the rarest thing, something that looks so small, yet feels more out of reach than any outward success. And that is why you are here with Menno, to learn how to control everything, but to discover how to master yourself. Stoic philosophy teaches us that true strength is not found in fighting against the current of life, but in our ability to remain calm in the midst of every storm, untouched by things beyond our reach. Inner peace, in truth, is not a goal to chase, but a state you can build, day by day, through the simplest choices and practices. In this video, 10 Stoic keys to learning to calm the mind and emotions. Stoicism. You and I will explore 10 key practical, down-to-earth principles for cultivating stillness, resilience, and real happiness within, no matter how the world outside keeps spinning. You may not be able to change everything overnight, but I believe if you just pause for a moment and truly listen to your own heart, you will sense something clearly. Peace is not somewhere far ahead. It is right here, where you choose to stop and simply be, in this very present moment. And if you are ready, let us begin this little journey, together a journey, back to tranquility, so that each new day can be a chance for you to live as your truest self. 1. The circle of control. Finding strength in what's truly yours. There are evenings when the last rays of sunlight linger on the weathered wooden porch of a house in the Midwest. You sit alone by the window, gazing through crimson maple leaves, watching each one fall in silence, while deep within, a nameless wave rises and breaks against the shores of your heart. Far off, the church bells echo against a crystal sky, children laugh across the street, and yet inside you is only the gentle stir of things you cannot control. Sometimes, in these unremarkable moments, you realize how much time you've spent holding on, straining to control everything from your parents' expectations, work results, even the unpredictable beat of someone else's heart. There are nights when the whole town is asleep, but you lie awake beneath the faint golden lamp. You replay your father's words, the message you haven't answered, a small mistake someone once mentioned, the weather tomorrow, the constant uncertainty waiting outside your door. Your mind flows like a boundless river, surging with both what you desire and what you'll never touch. You wonder, how do I quiet my heart? How do I stop trembling with fear, with failure, or even a loved one's slightest frown? And then, quite by chance, maybe in a quiet classroom, or while catching Simone Biles on television, you hear her story. Amid millions of eyes at the Tokyo Olympics in 2021, Simone, small yet unbreakable, chose to stop, turning away from gold to protect her spirit. In a voice as soft as it was certain, she said, "I can't control everything. I can only listen to myself." That night, you cry alone, realizing maybe for the first time what courage it takes to set down the world's expectations. You ask yourself, could I ever do the same? It's in that honest, vulnerable moment that you finally hear God whisper from the deepest part of your soul, "Give me what you cannot bear." For the first time, you pick up a pen and make 2 lists. On one side, the things truly within your control, your thoughts, your attitude, your effort, your kindness, your response, your faith in God. On the other, The things you've tried so hard to hold but never could, grades, others' feelings, what tomorrow brings, unexpected storms, the weather, fortune itself. Reading it back, you feel your chest lighten, your breath deepen, the room widen, the night lamp glow a little warmer, even the distant church bells seem to soften. It's only in moments of realness like this that you touch the Stoic wisdom Epictetus once wrote in the Enchiridion. Some things are up to us, and some are not up to us. The mystery question he left us, is this within my control, becomes a lighthouse for your heart. Each time you're lost, you need only pause, ask, and gently set down the weight that never belonged to you. Picture life as a late afternoon in the American countryside, where everyone must one day take their place as the archer. You can train, adjust your breath, choose the finest bow, and focus with all your soul on the shot butt. When the arrow leaves your hand, the wind may shift, a small bird may cross, or the sun may fall sooner than you planned. If you're trapped by results, your heart will forever be crowded by what you can never command. But if you give your whole spirit to the action, to this present moment, you'll discover the freedom and peace God bestows on anyone willing to lay down their burden. You see, whether you're a young man crushed by school, a champion beneath the world's spotlight, or simply someone sitting quietly on the porch in late autumn wind, the lesson remains. There are things to let go of, and things you're allowed to hold. True peace never comes from controlling the world, but from the moment you turn inward, seeing your limits clearly, and dare to put down all that was never yours to carry. If you're holding on to an anxiety or an expectation tonight, try quietly sitting down and making those two lists. If you're honest, you'll notice something gentle healing in your heart, a breath deepening, a sleep coming more easily than before. What in your life do you truly control? Leave an example in the comments. Maybe your story will become the gentle reminder someone else is searching for. And when you finally start setting down the burden of controlling the world, you'll awaken to a new strength. The strength of acceptance to open your heart to life as it is, and to sense God's gentle guidance on every step that lies ahead. 2. The art of acceptance. Loving your fate. Have you ever paused, really paused, just to listen to the smallest sounds of life? Maybe it's the moment a chilly breeze slips through a window pane, stirring the last autumn leaves still clinging to the sidewalk, or the quiet rhythm of coffee dripping, drop by patient drop, into a glass mug in a nearly empty cafe at the end of the street, each drop marking the slow, gentle breathing of a quiet morning. Sometimes, if you close your eyes, you'll hear a faint sigh rising from deep within your own chest, a sigh whose source you can't quite name, but somehow holds all your weariness, helplessness, and the longing to let go, to live just a little lighter, if only for a moment. Life has its own surprising ways of teaching us acceptance. Marcus Aurelius, in the cold and lonely nights of distant campaigns, would remind himself in his meditations, "Love your fate. Everything that happens, happens so you can grow." This was not a plea for blind resignation, but a gentle receiving, like sitting quietly by a window, listening to the wind, watching the clouds pass, knowing you cannot command the rain or hold back an early sunset, but you can choose to remain calm amidst all the changes. Stoic philosophy calls this amor fati, loving even those things no one would wish for. It is only when your heart is still enough to hear the wind, the birds, the falling leaves, that you realize each event, joy or sorrow, is a note in the symphony of fate. One image lingers in my mind: a small wooden boat drifting down the Mississippi on a misty morning. When the wind rises, the rower does not strain against the waves, but simply sets the oars down, letting the current carry him, listening to the water lap against the hull, finding balance through stillness within. The oars go quiet, leaving room for the sound of waves, and the distant call of birds on branches wet with dawn. When the wind settles, he lifts the oars again, gently steering, letting the boat drift back toward where he wishes to go. True strength here is not in resistance, but in surrender, like a silent prayer sent to God amid the storms. Guide me through these twists and turns, even when I can't see what lies ahead. The story of Rick, a man from Texas, returns to me every time I think of the word acceptance. Years ago, Rick was the owner of a bustling family restaurant, living in a small house filled with the laughter of children and the smell of fresh bread every morning. Then the financial crisis hit, and everything Rick had built fell apart. He lost the restaurant, lost his pride, and sometimes at night, listening to the old heater sputter and the wind rattle the windows, he would want to cry like a child. On winter mornings, Rick would rise early, make a cup of coffee, sit out on the porch watching the pale light filter through thick fog, listening to each drop of coffee, for each drop easing his thoughts along with the steam rising in the cold air. He told me, in those days it was the slow breath, the sound of the wind, the coffee, the birds, that saved him from surrendering to fate. Little by little, he learned to let go of regret and begin again, picking up a new skill, applying for a new job, feeling gratitude just to hear his daughter's laughter in the morning. Rick said he had never known such peace, because acceptance is no longer fighting the waves, but floating along so you can finally hear your own heart. If, these days, you too are facing a loss, a change, or something unwelcome that's wearing you down, try shutting off every device, sitting by a cracked open window and listening to the wind, the leaves, the sound of your own beating heart. Write down the thing that's been bothering you most, not to judge or explain it, but just to see it as another color in the unfinished painting of your life. Let the sounds of ordinary life wash over you like cool water, allowing yourself silence, release, and gratitude for simply being here, for the chance to begin again, for God's gentle companionship with each breath. And as you learn to open your heart to acceptance, life softens, like the far-off sound of wind, the gentle exhale after a storm. You'll begin to feel each moment more fully, not trapped in regrets for the past or worries for the future, but present in a deep and quiet peace, like a small boat drifting on a wide river, knowing that no wave can ever take away the light shining in the depths of your soul. 3. Living fully in the present. Mindfulness in every moment. Sometimes, I wonder how life might change if I truly lived fully in each moment. Maybe you've asked yourself that too, in the rush of busy days, as time slips quietly past in the city's constant noise, when a cup of coffee cools on the table before you've tasted its gentle bitterness. We've all had moments when our hearts drift away, pulled into old memories or future worries, forgetting that the present, fragile, fleeting, is the only real gift life ever gives us. I write these words for myself, like a small letter of gentle reminder. Just stop for a moment. Don't try to finish everything on today's list. Don't let a notification or a gust of wind outside pull you away from this one precious second. Place your hand on your chest and feel your heartbeat. Smell the faint scent left on your wrist. Listen to the soft breathing of a loved one in the next room. These little things, which seem ordinary, are actually the true meaning of a day well lived. Seneca once wrote in his letters to Lucilius, "We do not suffer from the present moment, but from the past or the fear of the future." Stoic philosophy teaches that mindfulness is not a technique for forgetting pain or forcing positivity, but the courage to live honestly with every emotion, allowing yourself to be present right here, right now. You don't have to be perfect. Just try sitting still, exhale slowly, listen to the sounds around you, the ticking of a clock, the gentle hum of the washer in the kitchen, the rustle of leaves on the balcony. All these remind you, you are alive, You are here, and you still have a chance to begin again, even in the smallest moment. Now, I want you to try something simple. Step away from every screen, turn off the noise, and give yourself 5 minutes, just 5, to sit, breathe deeply, and notice each movement of your body, every subtle vibration in your chest or fingertips. Don't judge. Don't plan what comes next. Just let yourself be, like standing in a summer rain and letting each drop touch your skin. No need to explain, no need to remember. And maybe, at the end of those 5 minutes, a childhood memory will come rushing back. You'll remember some long ago afternoon, riding on the back of your father's bicycle down a sunlit road, cicadas singing, the wind in your hair, happiness so simple because you were with someone you loved. You'll ask yourself, when was the last time I truly lived in a moment? And you'll realize the miracle is, the present is always ready to return. If only you have the courage to pause, listen, and welcome it. When your heart learns to stay with the present, you'll find yourself stronger before every storm. And you'll be ready to face challenges not as a victim, but as a true companion to your own life, strong, gentle, and deeply free. Fourth, tempered through adversity. There's a lesson that sooner or later everyone must learn in life. No soul grows strong on flat, easy ground. Have you ever wondered why the ancient oaks in the American South stand so resolute and enduring? It's not because the soil is rich or the rains always gentle, but because those lands are battered by strong winds, thunder, drought, and relentless storms, year after year. The more tempests, the more scars, the deeper an oak's roots reach down into the earth, and each branch rises stronger toward the sun, surviving through all the harshness. What looks gentle on the surface is often only a mask for countless wounds and hidden scars lines within the wood, cracks running deep, each one forging a resilience no storm can wash away. Adversity is the forge that tempers the soul. Epictetus, a slave who endured loss and exile, could still write in the Discourses, "Difficulty does not weaken a strong spirit. It is where we learn to overcome ourselves." Seneca stressed in On Providence, "Without adversity, no one can grow." Stoic philosophy doesn't paint suffering as beautiful, nor does it ask us to pretend we're always okay. It teaches that every pain, every upheaval, every failure is a seed for growth, strength, and a deeper gratitude. Can you hear, out on the winter prairies of America, how sometimes in the cold and thick fog, the wind blowing through bare branches sounds like the faintest whisper in the dark? The scrape of dry leaves across the porch, the windows rattling in the storm, the heavy steps of your own feet returning home after a day of disappointment. If you listen with a heart quiet enough, all those sounds become the background music to a symphony of growing up, where each ache is a reminder. You are still alive. You can still stand. You can always begin again, even from the smallest piece. There are moments I look back on that still feel like I've walked through a great storm. But today, I want to tell you the story of someone who turned adversity into a platform for rebirth. American Olympic gymnast Kerri Strug. In 1996, at the Atlanta Olympics, Kerri, just 20 years old, was the golden hope of the U.S. women's gymnastics team. In the final round, she suffered a serious ankle injury. The stadium fell silent, a wave of anxious breath breaking across the crowd as everyone thought the team's dream had slipped away. But Kerri refused to stop. After a brief silence, the judge's voice, the crowd's roar fading, she stepped back onto the vault, pain threatening to buckle her legs. In that moment, Kerri said, she wasn't thinking of victory or anyone's expectations. She focused on just one thing, fulfilling her responsibility to herself and her team. With every stride, every breath held, she launched herself into the air, landing on one foot, holding her balance as the crowd erupted. That effort won the United States its first ever team gold in gymnastics. But more than that, the moment Kerry was carried from the floor, tears streaming down her face, was when she and all of America understood. Real resilience isn't born from success, but from daring to rise when you're at your lowest. Maybe you've never faced a physical wound like Kerry, but every life knows the sting of defeat, a failed exam, a job lost, a broken relationship, a harsh rejection, or even just a day where nothing goes as planned. In those moments, if all we do is curse our fate, we stay trapped in a cycle of blame and despair. But if we dare to pause, breathe deep, write down what we've survived, mark each pain and lesson received, we'll see ourselves growing like the old oak, rooting deeper after every storm. I want you to claim a moment today, put on some gentle music, sit down, and write in your journal about a failure or upheaval that hurt you. Then look back and ask, without that fall, would you be as grown, as brave, as ready to face life as you are now? You might realize that every scar is a silent medal, proof that you dared to live, to try, to love, and to fail. Only you truly know their worth. And when you become steady through adversity, you gain more than resilience. You gain the ability to respond to life with intention, no longer reacting blindly or swept away by passing emotions. That is the real strength you'll carry. Forward, the strength of a soul tempered by many storms, a heart grateful for every scratch, every bottom reached, every time you stood up in the cold dark. 5. Choosing to respond, not reacting in haste. Have you noticed that sometimes a single moment of pause, a deep breath in the middle of emotional turbulence, can change an entire day, or even a childhood memory? Stoic philosophy reminds us that our greatest freedom lies in the space between stimulus and response. Epictetus said it best: it's not the events that hurt us, but the way we choose to react to them. Picture a quiet evening in an American suburb, the kitchen bathed in honeyed light, breadcrumbs scattered across the wooden table. Outside, a gentle wind stirs the curtains through the window, and within this space, a child's plea cuts through your thoughts. "Dad, can I play just a little longer?" After a long, weary day, your first instinct is to snap. "How many times have I told you? Aren't you listening?" But then, in a tiny pause between a furrowed brow and a sharp intake of breath, there is a stillness only those who truly listen will recognize. The internal dialogue, two voices running in parallel. The voice of anger: yell, show them the rules, disobedience needs consequences. The voice of reason: wait, breathe, just 10 slow breaths. Look at your child as you once were, a kid who sometimes only wanted to be heard, not controlled. You stop, count silently. 1, 2, 3. Just a few seconds, and all the noise softens. Then you turn to your child, voice gentler: "I get it. It's tough when playtime ends for everyone. But we made a promise, didn't we? Was your game fun today? Tell me about it." The tension dissolves, the kitchen glows warm. Your child's eyes light up, and he begins to chatter about his imaginary adventures. In that moment, you realize that this small act of restraint has opened a far larger world, a world where two hearts touch through listening, not authority. Outside, the wind continues through the oak trees. Somewhere deep in your chest, a soft sigh is released, like a stone sinking into still water. You think to yourself, without those 10 breaths, tonight could have become a battlefield. But now, all is calm, just the scent of toasted bread, laughter, and golden light. And then, a small twist. Years later, as your son now, a teenager, is drifting off to sleep, he suddenly turns and whispers, "You know, Dad, when I was little and did something wrong, I was scared of you. But then I noticed you'd sit quietly, eyes closed, like you were counting something. It made me feel so safe. Maybe that's why I told you everything, because I wasn't afraid of being yelled at. You're stunned. That little pause didn't just save your own emotions, it planted in your child's memory a quiet trust that their parent was patient enough to listen and love for real. Try this small exercise. Whenever you're tempted to speak sharply, count 10 breaths for yourself, for your child, for your family. And if you've managed to choose calm over reaction this week, share that moment below. Sometimes a simple pause can change the course of a lifetime. When you learn to pause before every impulsive feeling, you'll find yourself much lighter, ready to let go of what's unnecessary, open your mind wider, and allow the most beautiful memories to blossom in the hearts of those you love most. 6. Minimalist living and the art of letting go. There are mornings when the first sunlight pours through the window and you look around your room, sensing the air has grown fresher after a gentle tidying up. Old objects, souvenirs stacked on shelves, each once held a meaning, but over time, they quietly became burdens on your mind. Suddenly, when everything is rearranged and only what's truly necessary remains, you notice the room feels larger, sunlight dances along the wooden floor, and your soul seems to breathe more deeply. Try closing your eyes slowly, intentionally. Imagine you're sitting alone in that room, all excess now cleared away, no old memories clinging to you, no noise from unfinished dreams. You quietly set down a lingering expectation, a worry, or even just an item you no longer use. The feeling of relief doesn't come all at once. It's like the first breeze of spring slipping beneath the eaves, winding softly into your heart, opening up a new space zone where you can finally hear your own breath, uninterrupted by the past. In that room, the light rushes in, the walls look whiter, every sound becomes sharper. Leaves falling outside on the balcony, the tick of the clock, your own heartbeat slowing after a restless night, and you realize letting go isn't losing something. It's making room for gentler, newer things to enter. The mind, like a room after a season of decluttering, finds peace only when there's enough space for stillness. This week, give yourself a simple gift. Choose one keepsake, one old fear, or one outdated expectation, and say goodbye with a real gesture. Maybe it's passing along a book you no longer read, tossing away something that's lost its meaning, or simply writing down your worry on a scrap of paper, then tearing it up and letting it drift away on the wind. Sometimes, one tiny action can create a profound shift in your soul. Once you learn to let go gently, a special kind of stillness arises within you. This is the turning point of the journey, and in that very place, you finally touch the freedom you've been searching for all along. 7. Practicing inner stillness. Have you ever wondered what would happen if you gave yourself 5 full minutes to simply be, with no doing, no thinking, no busyness, and no effort to become anyone else? In the rush of the world outside, 5 quiet minutes might feel like a luxury, but it can also be the greatest gift of healing you ever offer yourself. Try it right now. Just turn off all your devices, put down your phone, close your screen, and let the outside world drift away for a while. Find a truly quiet spot, where gentle light touches your skin, where you can sit down and let go of every burden from a long day. Settle in, relax your shoulders and neck. Feel your back resting softly against the chair, your feet anchored to the cool floor. Close your eyes. There's nothing left to do, no one to answer, no role to play or hold up. It's just you with yourself, right here, right now. Listen to your own breath, each inhale, each exhale, as natural as waves lapping the shore. There's no need to control it, no need to demand perfection. If thoughts drift in about work, about someone who once hurt you, about unnamed worries, let them pass. Lightly, like clouds moving across a vast sky. Don't hold on, and don't try to chase them away. Just whisper quietly inside, I am here. In this moment, everything is okay. You might choose to play a gentle soundtrack, waves on a beach, wind through the trees, wind chimes tinkling on the porch. Let those sounds soothe and comfort you, guiding you back to the natural rhythm your soul has always longed for. Feel each cool breath moving in through your nose, down to your chest, then slowly leaving, as if carrying away every care of the day. Your shoulders drop, your brow softens, and somewhere deep inside your chest, a rare and precious quiet begins to grow. You don't need to empty your mind, just be present with yourself. Here, now, that's enough. In these 5 minutes, you get to live fully, for you not to please anyone, not pulled by distant expectations. Just be grateful for this rare moment of stillness, and thank yourself for giving this gift 5 precious minutes to listen, to love, to be wholly yourself. Repeat this 5-minute practice every day, ideally at night, when the world's noise has faded away. Over time, you'll feel it. In the heart of stillness, you will meet the deepest parts of yourself, unshaken, unhurried, and at peace. From this foundation of stillness, every virtue can begin to grow, and that is the surest ground for the true peace you deserve. 8. Virtue, the foundation of inner peace. Have you ever wondered, after all the storms out there, what truly remains with you? Is it success, status, money, or is it a quiet peace that's hard to name? In America, amid the rush of modern life, everyone gets swept up in the chase for more, for greater success. Yet at some point, beneath all the glitter, we discover empty spaces nothing can fill. Sometimes you look within and ask, what really anchors my inner strength? Stoic philosophy answered this question thousands of years ago. Enduring peace is built on a single foundation virtue. Marcus Aurelius would remind himself in Meditations, if something is not virtuous, don't do it. If it's not right, don't say it. The 4 great virtues of Stoicism, wisdom, courage, justice, temperance, like 4 small lamps lighting each step of a life's journey. Wisdom helps us see beneath the surface, not blindly chasing appearances. Courage gives us the strength to face hardship, to stand up for what's right. Justice is the heart that considers others, that listens and shares. Temperance teaches self-mastery, keeping us from being swept away by the fleeting temptations of modern life. Picture 2 very real ways of living in this American society. One is the successful person, always crisp in a suit, behind the wheel of an expensive car, a packed schedule, forever chasing the next big goal. Outwardly, a symbol of achievement. But at night, as golden light falls across the apartment, there is a loneliness and confusion. After so many victories, so many rivals bested, what remains is an emptiness. Am I truly happy? Have I lived by my values? Somewhere in a small town, another life unfolds, though not marked by notoriety or wealth, but by a few worn clothes, a faded bicycle, a tiny house with a wildflower garden. Here lives an old teacher up early each day, cycling to school beneath the autumn leaves, stopping for a hot coffee at the corner, quietly stepping into class. He has no fame, no great awards, yet everyone who meets him remembers his calm, his dedication, the honesty in his gaze. Former students return, just to say thanks for the small gifts he gave over the years. His listening, his kindness, his fairness, his humility. No grand speeches, no blaring accolades, but his simple, steadfast way becomes a foundation for generations. You might think virtue is distant, something for ancient philosophers, but truly, it's present in every small choice you make. In how you answer a message, how you keep your word, how you restrain yourself in anger, how you treat a stranger. Wisdom, Courage, justice, temperance, these are lived not in big gestures, but in small, repeated actions. They build a quiet confidence and a self-respect no one can take away. Tonight, try spending a few minutes reflecting on your day. Is there something you're proud of? Maybe you acted justly, chose kindness over selfishness, or held your temper when it seemed impossible. Sometimes you'll notice what's missing, but don't be harsh with yourself. Simply recognize it and remind yourself, tomorrow I'll choose better. I'll live closer to what matters most. And then you'll see living by virtue isn't some distant ideal, but the source of real peace. It's the feeling of coming home on an autumn afternoon, golden light through a small window, the smell of baked bread, the wind in the garden you sit, and feel your heart soften amid the world's chaos. In that moment, you know, you have lived without regret, leaving behind something more beautiful than fame or money, a memory, a mark of a kind soul. When you live by virtue, every moment becomes meaningful, each day a reason for gratitude. If you could choose, would you be the outwardly successful one, or the person who sows peace and real value in the world? What will you choose for your life? 9. Gratitude, the key to transforming every emotion. Have you ever wondered what truly has the power to soften your swirling emotions, to help you stand firm through all the upheavals of your life? Perhaps it's as Oprah Winfrey once whispered during a late afternoon conversation in America, "Be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough." Maybe gratitude for what you already have, even the smallest things, is the true root of peace we've always sought. Stoic philosophy, too, quietly but steadfastly affirms this. The root of peace is not having everything, but being grateful for what is already yours. Seneca wrote in his letters to Lucilius, "Nothing is more conducive to peace of mind than gratitude, both in good times and in adversity." Let me share a small story with you, a memory that softens me every time I recall it. In the quiet suburbs of America, where sunlight fills peaceful streets, there lived an old man who began each day with his own gentle ritual. Every morning, after throwing open the windows to let in the fresh air, he would sit at the table, holding a tiny slip of paper, and write down the first thing he was grateful for. Sometimes it was birdsong, a cool breeze, or simply the sweet aroma of coffee rising from his cup. He never waited for big things. Each day, just one short line, sometimes the name of a person, an old memory, or simply, "Today I am still healthy." That slip of paper would be folded and dropped into a clear glass jar on his nightstand, his gratitude jar. Day after day, no matter if the sun blazed or the rain fell, whatever storms raged in the world outside, he kept up that habit. On rainy mornings, when he missed loved ones who had passed or felt loneliness echoing in the wind, he would still search for something, however small, to give thanks for, still able to hear the rain. A warm breakfast, the smile of the paper girl on the corner. At the end of each year, he would spend a quiet afternoon emptying out his gratitude jar, carefully unfolding each slip, reading every word and every memory. Under the late sunlight, the little room seemed bathed in a golden warmth. Placing his hand over his heart, each line read like a gentle breeze passing through his soul, reminding him of all the goodness he'd experienced, whether the year had brought storms or calm. Sometimes he'd smile, sometimes tears would well up, but always he'd end with a sigh of deep contentment. It seemed that these simple moments had kept his spirit forever young, like a gratitude jar that never ran dry. You can start this practice today. You don't have to wait for something perfect. Each night before you go to sleep, try writing down 3 small things you're grateful for. Sunlight on the balcony, a simple meal, a brief word of encouragement, or just the feeling of breathing deeply after a long day. Over time, you'll notice all the negative emotions, anger, sadness, disappointment, can be transformed into something lighter, more peaceful, when you pause and thank yourself for living this day well. If you wish to spread positive energy, place your hand on your heart, feel that quiet beat, and share one thing you're grateful for today in the comments below with the hashtag number gratitude jar. Who knows, your gratitude might touch someone else's soul, like a ray of light brightening a dark day, or a gentle reminder of the simple gifts still all around us. And in the end, this journey doesn't stop at personal feeling. It becomes the ongoing growth of the soul, where each of us can become a gratitude jar, radiating peace and love out into a much wider world. 10. Lifelong learning. Growth is an endless journey. There are days when you wake up, look out the window, and suddenly realize the sky holds a new shade of blue, and the sunlight touching the doorstep feels gentler than ever before. Life, whether calm or chaotic, never stops changing, not for a single second. In the Stoic eye, growth is never a destination. It's an ongoing journey of renewal, of opening your heart, of learning from every small detail life offers. Epictetus once said, "We are not born perfect, but to become better day by day." Perhaps that's why the image of an old artist always moves me. He doesn't chase after glory, nor does he fret about age. Each morning, he rises early just to learn something small and new. Some days, he sits before his easel, patiently practicing brush strokes, his eyes bright with the innocence of a child. In quieter moments, he relearns an old melody on the piano, even as his fingers tremble. Sometimes, he stops by the corner cafe just to talk, listening to children share stories of the modern world, stories he's never known. For him, every day is a chance to rediscover the world, as if today were the very first day. Have you ever asked yourself, what did I learn today? Sometimes, learning isn't about reaching new, grand horizons, but simply having the courage to open up to a new experience, trying a recipe you've never made, reading a few pages outside your usual interests, or listening deeply to a friend. It's in these small things that life becomes richer, more vibrant, and filled with new hope. If tomorrow marks a new beginning, what will you choose to learn, even if it's just one tiny thing? And if every day could be this fresh, would you ever run out of wonder or joy? Try making a promise to yourself. Tomorrow, I will learn or try something new just for me. Don't pressure yourself and don't compare. If you dare to try, to be curious like a child, this journey of growth will never end. Because true maturity is the art of renewing yourself each day, discovering yourself again and again, and nurturing an endless wellspring of life within your soul. Perhaps, after traveling through these 10 chapters, you've come to realize peace is not a destination, but something you cultivate each day through every small choice. It's not the absence of storms, but the capacity to remain with yourself even as chaos swirls outside. Stoic philosophy doesn't promise to turn you into a cold, untouchable superhuman. It doesn't ask you to suppress all your emotions. Instead, it places 10 keys in your hands, each one a practice to strengthen your mind and heart, so you can unlock your own door to inner peace and self-mastery. There will still be anxious days, moments you lose control, times you feel helpless with yourself. That's completely normal. Growth, as you've seen, is an endless journey. There's no rush, no need for perfection, only the patience to begin again each day, a little softer, a little more in tune with yourself than the day before. If you've found value in this video, leave a comment about a moment, lesson, or practice that touched you most deeply. Share one small habit you'll start trying from today. And if you wish to continue this journey with me exploring Stoic philosophy, building inner strength, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. There are many more meaningful topics ahead, new journeys and new keys waiting for you. You deserve peace, and whether your path is quiet or full of energy, I'll always be here walking beside you, like a close friend, through every video and every story. Thank you for staying until the very end. Keep nurturing your peace every day, and remember, you are the author of your own growth and true happiness. I look forward to seeing you in the next chapter of our Stoic journey.